Hello and welcome to this short little film where I'm showing off a model that I've been making over the last few weeks, a model of Sainte Chapelle, a beautiful Gothic chapel in the centre of Paris. Now I'd put off making this model for ages. My family brought it when we were in Paris a few years ago. Because of the intricacy of the model, I thought I'm never going to be able to manage this, but I knuckled down and over many evenings scored, cut out intricately, folded and glued together all the bits of the chapel, and I'm fairly happy with the job I've done. There's a few odd bits where I think I could have done a little bit better job there. The Sainte Chapelle is in the centre of Paris, and it's all about this Gothic masterpiece glorifying the French monarchy, because it was the chapel in the palace in the centre of Paris there. So how about a quick history lesson before I show you off the little film flying around the chapel I made. It's on the Ile de la Cité, one of the two islands in the centre of Paris, and the rulers of France have lived there on and off since the 6th century until the 14th century. It was part of this big palace, the Palais de la Cité. Only this chapel, a few odd towers here and there, and the conciergerie survive. Conciergerie was later used as a prison. It was originally built by Louis IX, who was later canonised and became Saint Louis. Started around 1238, consecrated in 1248. So they built it fairly quickly. His father, Louis the Lion, had nearly conquered England. His forces had been defeated where I am in Lincoln in 1217, and he'd failed to capture Dover, and his naval forces got defeated at the Battle of Sandwich. His son, though, Louis IX, far more pious than Louis the Lion, Louis VIII, he went on the 7th Crusade and the 8th Crusade, and on the 8th Crusade he died in Tunis in 1270 of dysentery. The 7th Crusade was the one where they attacked Egypt, and Jeanville's chronicles of that crusade is an interesting study in incompetence and bad management. The 7th Crusade, you just read the whole thing and think, what were they thinking? Well, most of us think, what were they thinking anyway, of thinking that, somehow it's a Christian thing to go and murder people of different religions is utterly beyond me. But Louis thought he was very pious, spent a lot of time in the Mediterranean trying to acquire relics of Jesus. It's a beautiful structure. It's very tall and thin. There's a 33-metre tall spire sat atop of it. From the base of the chapel to the top of the spire is 75 metres, and the interior is 33 metres long. So it's very tall, very thin, very open, and it's got some beautiful windows. The end of the upper chapel is a reliquary. There was meant to be up to about 100 relics in there, 20 of the top ones in the back of this upper chapel, and the relics include the crown of thorns, a piece of the true cross, a bit of the spear used to pierce the side of Jesus, some hair and some blood of Jesus. And feel free to be sceptical of the claims of any of these objects, none of which I think would probably bear investigation by a modern archaeologist. But Louis spent more on the relics than he did on this chapel. So you look at this chapel and think, God, that must have cost a bit to build, but he spent more on the relics he put inside it. And the idea was he was trying to make Paris the centre of Christendom, a new Rome, a new Constantinople. So the upper chapel's for this king and his family and close friends. There used to be a big stairway on the outside and the rest of the palace around. And there's 15 beautiful stained glass windows, 2/3 of which contain their original glass. There's been obviously revolutions and wars and so forth, so that's quite an incredibly high percentage. The lower chapel underneath was for the palace staff. In 1803 it was converted into an archive, but it was restored in the 19th century. There's been more recent restorations where the stonework has been cleaned up and restored, and the roof and the spire have been reworked. So let's have a look at the chapel. The model was very intricate, including lots of detail inside. The only shame is it doesn't really show up the glory of those beautiful stained glass windows that are in Sainte Chapelle. So despite all my hard work, it'll only give you a glimpse of the real thing. So let's have a little look around the interior. Well, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy that. And let's have one last view at all my hard work. Take care.